Good evening. My name is Bashir Fancy. You know me as the president of Business and Technology Professional Association of Canada, BizTech. This video, a very short one, I'm making after thinking very hard about this, and it's mostly to share with you a very deep personal experience that occurred with me on last Thursday, Friday. And I thought I'll share this with people so they can hopefully avoid. And people who know me know I've been involved with security risk management for many years. In fact, I led that for Visa. I was executive vice president of Visa, and I've been involved with writing global standards and so forth. So why did I want to talk to you about today? Because few friends called me and encouraged me to talk about this. Something very important I've been saying around security, that technology doesn't solve all problems. People is the weakest link, and I'm here to talk about that because embarrassing as it is something that happened with me last week. So what is that happen? Last Thursday, as I was on a webinar, and I had 10 windows actually open on my computer. One of the windows was for Rogers webmail, because I found recently the Outlook has been fairly slow in getting emails. And so if I need to get something urgently, I go to Rogers webmail. So it's not on my computer, but I get it straight from them because it seems to take time. I can't figure out why. It's working on the other systems fine. Anyway, I had received an email it was a phishing email from a gang in Nigeria, and I was too aware of that because they've been trying for a long time, and they try with everybody else. And they pretend to be Rogers or Bell or whoever. This particular one was from pretending to be from Rogers, and I opened and left that window there because I wanted to then work with a colleague of mine to reverse back in to find out exactly the IP address of who it was doing. In the end, because of the fact that I didn't touch it for about an hour and a half, it backfired. And what is it I'm talking about? No amount of technology in the world would have stopped that problem. Is that I had a legitimate window open for logging onto the webmail, and I had opened this email, or I didn't execute it, which they wanted me to upgrade, which was all phony. But nevertheless, when I came back to it after the webinar was completed, I had forgotten that I had left that window open. I had two available. Unfortunately, I went on the wrong one and put my email and password. I realized very quickly what had happened was that I had gone to the wrong one. Then I tried to get a hold of Rogers. By the time I got the whole thing done, because of delay in my winding up the webinar, was about half hour. In that time, this criminal organization from Nigeria had already gone into my email, this one particular email, and changed my password. So when I tried to log in, it wouldn't work. So I got a hold of Rogers to get my email reset and get back into my account. And to a normal person, everything would look normal, that, okay, I've got to control back of the account. In the meantime, they'd send a few emails asking my contacts to give them Google gift cards. I don't do any such thing, but this guy's a master at that. So having stopped that, I was going through to look at what they may have done or achieved, because I had to now change passwords everywhere. I was not taking chance. In the meantime, some contacts phoned me up and texted me if I'd asked them for money, that they were doing this on LinkedIn. So they'd gone and changed my password at LinkedIn. Obviously, the authentication would come to my email address, which was at rogers.com, and they could validate that because they did have that half-hour window. So now I had to go change the password on LinkedIn, which I did. And every few minutes, as I reset the email back, they changed it again. This cat and mouse game went on for a while, and I realized that they've got some other control into my system at least on the web, because how else would they know what I've changed the password? So I started examining on LinkedIn to see what they had done. This took a little bit of time by the time I got to that. And I realized that they had got into my LinkedIn account and added a second email address, a phony email address, which was using my name with an extra initial at hotmail.com, which they validated using my Rogers email. And so they were able to obviously get this phony email address. So I was able to take control of that by removing that additional email address that they had put onto my LinkedIn and change the account from my email address that I had to a new one that I created with completely different passwords on LinkedIn, so I could take control back with the two-factor authentication, which I had actually. I had it through email, unfortunately, not through the authenticator, which I've now changed. That was the only one place where I had it on the email authentication rather than on my phone, where I have all the rest. That facility does not exist with webmail or Rogers. So what these guys had done, obviously they now it didn't matter what I changed on LinkedIn, the password, because they had the second email address. They were getting into LinkedIn to do whatever they had to do. So I removed their accounts out of the LinkedIn, even removed my own account, which they had actually compromised, and put in a completely new email address with the two-factor authentication authenticator on my phone, so forth. So I was able to secure that. They had gone to few people on my LinkedIn messaging to ask them for Google gift cards, which I don't do. I don't send emails like that to anybody. It never happen in the future. People should be careful because you might be getting it from somebody else. I still couldn't figure out why some funny things were happening on my email account. So I went in there continuously on webmail. Remember, my computer was not touched. Nothing happened inside. All happened on the outside. What I then realized, this guy's low tech, but they were smart in what they were doing. Completely low tech. They went in and they turned my webmail account and put the vacation on. They put a business card with a phony email they had so things would get forwarded to them, which they already authenticated earlier on. That's how they were finding out exactly every email I was getting was duplicated to them. So at that point in time, I put a hold to the account completely, removed everything, took the forge off, changed the password, and put a different authentication. Unfortunately, they don't have the authentication that could go to my phone, but it is what it is. I don't use that webmail mostly. I use my Outlook and so forth. Here, two very important. It took me quite a few hours to drill down to figure out what they had done. This group was in Nigeria. We were able to reverse back in to find out exactly what it was. A group in Nigeria who had been doing this thing. And I have plenty of emails I've done over many months. They have tried to get in. This time, I was trying to trap them with my colleague Wave. In fact, waiting that they would do that. But I made the blunder by waiting for an hour and then forgot which window it was. Here's my point to everyone that I wanted to share, that it doesn't matter what technology you've got, and I have been saying this for as long as I can remember, that at the end of the day, it is people weakness. In this case, it was me, who knows this stuff very well, has written standards about it, and advises people, and I fell for it because I was not careful. It was a people weakness that did it. No amount of technology in the world would have fixed this problem. It was a people issue, and it was a mistake that I made. Now, the 2-3 things that come to light, which are mind-boggling and worry me, and hopefully LinkedIn and other people will pay attention to this, as will Rogers and all other people, that while I was changing the address to get control of the LinkedIn account, they were going back in and changing the address to another email that they had out of Nigeria. The IP address was from Nigeria, whereas I was going in from Canada. Somebody needs to answer a very interesting question here also, is how did it not send an alert to LinkedIn or to Microsoft in the other case that a completely different IP address going into my account, was changing the password that I was changing every 5-10 minutes, that it should have sent all sorts of alerts, and we didn't see that. That has to worry everybody and surprise what type of controls and checks are in place that this happened. Not blaming anybody. Fault started with me in putting the wrong email password in the wrong place. But if the secondary checks and balances fail or they don't exist, it doesn't speak very well of our security. I know we go to conferences and hear how wonderful things are, and I'm about to tell you they're not. People know in the last 4 months, our ransomware has gone up about 715% over last year. And when you're talking about this 4 months, tells you things are not under control. And I'm a very good example. Although it happened to me, I shouldn't be embarrassed, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn around and use this as an opportunity to train and share with people that if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. You have to be very careful. Technology by itself is not going to protect you. The comments I used to make about other people, which is that bad guys, good guys have to be 100% lucky all the time. We have to do 100% of the things right. The bad guys have to be lucky just once, which is exactly what happened. Because this is not an email that came from somebody I did not know. I knew exactly who they were. But because of the 2 windows, I made the mistake. That mistake could have been made by anybody. So the question for all of us is be very, very careful. And God forbid if it happened to you, these are the things you have to make sure that nobody puts your accounts on vacation and forward and duplicates the email address as they did on both sites. They did it on my webmail at Rogers by putting me on vacation, and also in LinkedIn by putting second address. But something they love to think very hard about is the fact that at Visa we have, and many organizations have, when you try to put the password in once, twice, it fails. They will lock you down and send you an alert to the phone or whatever. How come this didn't happen here? So something to think about. Nobody's blaming anybody, but he better, if this is what the crooks are doing, and this is not a high-tech phishing, there's a very low-tech, but they were very successful because they can count on the fact that people will be busy and at some point in time will make the mistake that occurred with me. So that's why I'm sharing with you. I did what I have to. I stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning to get the control back of the account and kill the other sides of it. So we don't have a problem now. But please be very careful. No one is exempt from this type of thing. You make a mistake, you're in deep trouble. It could have been disastrous because they could have attacked the bank account and all that. I've changed all that, and those emails are gone, passwords are gone, the accounts have been changed. But it can happen to anybody. You have to be very, very careful. And I just wanted to highlight by sharing this experience with you that people link is the weakest. Again, I want to repeat, no amount of technology would have solved that problem because a mistake was made by me. However, when the mistake was made, that's when something should have happened. It took me a day and a half to get hold of people at this big organization. I don't mean Rogers, Microsoft, to try and get them to kill the other phony account they created. Those are the things all need to be addressed because maybe they don't see this type of thing every day. I doubt that very much. It's more like maybe people don't complain. Regardless, we all have to be vigilant and do things differently because they're adopting. These guys are very good at adopting new methodologies, new approaches. Please be very careful. And that's why tomorrow morning, this is Monday night on the 14th of September, because this just happened on Thursday, Friday, and I got control back completely by Saturday night. We're doing with Sir Matthews of London, who's based in Europe. We're having this conversation in our series that we're doing about security challenges around the world. He's very, very good. We're going to address part of this issue that happened here and what exactly is going on all over the world. You don't want to miss that. So if you haven't, you can go to our website, biztek, biztek.org, and look at the events and register for it. Um, or you can even, or if you're on LinkedIn, we have put it out there. Do register because it's worthwhile to do it. And just think about it. Can happen to me. Can happen to anybody, and it does happen. So, with that, thank God the damage was uh, zero, and I hope nobody sent them Google gift cards, which was kind of funny, the type of email they sent. But I just wanted to share that with you. So thank you, folks. Have a wonderful evening, and remember once again, nobody's exempt from this type of problems. God bless. Good night.